Welcome to the Amazon Translate Deep Dive video series. My name is Watson G. Srivatsan, and I'm excited to take us through this journey to learn more about Amazon Translate. We are in episode 3, and in this episode, we will look at how you can customize your machine translation output using Amazon Translate. We'll go over why we need to customize, what customization options are currently available with Amazon Translate, and explore how to use each of these options. When you translate from one language to another, you want your machine translation to be accurate, fluent, and more importantly, contextual. Customization helps your machine translation contextual. I can come up with 3 cases that necessitate customization. First, when you're quoting an important passage of a speech, you prefer to pass through the input text to appear in the output untranslated. Customization helps you to tell Amazon Translate what to pass through. Second, when you have a context-specific named entity in your translation, you have a terminology file or a term-based file that prescribes how to translate the named entity correctly. Customization here helps you translate the named entity correctly using the terminology file exactly the way you need it. Third, when you need domain-adapted translation, an idea can be translated from one language to another in multiple ways, equally correctly. The propriety of the translation depends on the context. Customization helps you to provide contextual translation. Let's explore the options we have to customize the output. First, we have the Do Not Translate feature. This feature enables you to tag content of your input string, and Amazon Translate will maintain them or pass through the string in the translated output. Use this for cases such as quotes, codes, or unique identifiers. A second option is custom terminology. You can use this feature to translate named entities with domain-specific vocabulary or terminology. By uploading and invoking custom terminology in your translation requests, you have the ability to ensure that your unique content, such as brand names, character names, and model names, are translated exactly the way you need it. Third, we have Active Custom Translation, or ACT. ACT is a dynamic customization feature to enhance your translation output to suit your domain. For example, you want to translate "How are you" to Spanish. You can customize the output as either "Cómo estás" or "Cómo está usted" or any other variation. With ACT, you can now bring your data and influence the behavior of Amazon Translate and take greater control of your machine translation output. Now, let's dive deeper into these 3 features. Do Not Translate is used to pass through the input string untouched into the output. Use Do Not Translate for quotes, codes, or unique identifiers. Take, for example, the following sentence in Spanish that contains the phrase "Mi casa es tu casa." This is a Spanish sentence that says "Mi casa es tu casa" is something we say to welcome our friends. Here, you may want to maintain the phrase "Mi casa es tu casa" in Spanish as you perform the translation from Spanish to English. You can see here that the Spanish phrase is translated to "My house is your house." Now, you can use an HTML tag and set the attribute translate equal to no. For this example, we use the span tag. Here, the span tag is inserted. Now, you see the translation "Mi casa es tu casa" is something we say to welcome our friends. Amazon Translate preserved the tagged segment and passes it through. It is simple, and you can use this attribute to preserve the segment in the original language. This works both in batch and real-time translation. Now, let's look at custom terminology. Use custom terminology to customize Amazon Translate output to use company-specific and domain-specific vocabulary. By uploading and invoking custom terminology with translation requests, you have the ability to ensure that your unique content, such as brand name, character names, and model names, are translated exactly the way you need it. Take, for example, the term wish list. We all know what a wish list is, right? Or do we? It can be a list of wishes, or it can be the Amazon gift registry where you create your wish list, and your family and friends can have access to it and buy gifts for you from what you have listed. Say you want to translate "Add toaster to my wish list" from English to French. Without any customization, you'll get the following output. Here, wish list is translated as "liste de soi." Say if you want to translate wish list as listed on we can make that happen using custom terminology. You can create a custom terminology from scratch or use an existing term-based CSV file or a TMX file. For this demo, we will use a CSV file. We open a spreadsheet application, enter the first column as the source language. Here it is English. The second and subsequent columns are target languages. Here it's just one target language and it's French. In the second and subsequent rows, we enter the terminologies that we want to translate correctly. Save the file. Make sure that this is UTF-8 encoded. Now let's click Create Terminology. Give it a name. Here we use Amazon Custom Terminology Demo. Click Choose File and select the file that we just created. Your custom terminology is by default encrypted using AWS keys. You can also choose to encrypt them using your own keys and click Create Terminology. And we have created a custom terminology. Now let's use the custom terminology by testing it. Here we are able to translate wish list as listed on we. You can do more with custom terminology on the console. You can list out all the terminologies you have created in each AWS region. You can even update an existing custom terminology with another terminology file. Finally, you can delete your custom terminology. Keep your custom terminology minimal. Only include words which you want to control and which are completely unambiguous. Custom terminologies are case sensitive and do not include multiple target terms for the same source phrase. Now let's take a look at Active Custom Translation. You can use Active Custom Translation to take greater control over the machine translation output to make it more specific to your domain. Legal documents and marketing documents are written in different styles, and this is what we mean by different domains. You need examples of high-quality translation data in your domain as input to create your parallel data. Many of you may maintain translation memories. You can compile your translation memories here as input to Active Custom Translation. The data should be in comma-separated variable, tab-separated variable, or in translation memory exchange file format to ensure that it is UTF-8 encoded. Let's take a look at this example of a Word document on NASA's Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, TESS. This article is in the science domain and I want to translate it to Russian. I also have examples of English-Russian preferred translation in the same domain. ACT helps me to get this document custom translated from English to Russian. Let's now create a parallel data. Click Create Parallel Data. Name the parallel data, and here we give it a name Space Style. I save my translation example as a CSV file on S3 here. Now I'm going to choose the file ending with v2. Set the file format as CSV. As always, your data is encrypted using AWS own keys. You can also use your own keys to encrypt the data. And let's click Create Parallel Data. Now we have created a parallel data containing examples of source phrases and their translations. With parallel data, we can tailor the style, tone, and the word choice of our translation output. Now let's use the parallel data to translate this Word document. Please watch our second video on the Explainer video series for the step-by-step instructions on how to perform batch translation. You will notice under the customization section, we have chosen Space Style as our parallel data. Cost of customizing using parallel data is more than that of standard translation, so please be aware. I'm going to run another translation to show what the Russian output would have been without customization. You can see that I have not selected any parallel data under customization. Before we review our translated documents, I want to show you how we can list out all the parallel data we have created in a region. You can even update an existing parallel data by selecting a different file. Here, we replace v2 with v3. And now you can see your parallel data is updated. You can update your parallel data as many times as you want without incurring any charges. Now, let's review the changes to the translation made by our customization. First, let's compare the English source file and the customized Russian translation. You'll notice that ACT faithfully maintained the formatting of the source document. Next, let's now place the non-ACT translation on the left side of the screen. While we browse through, we will see that the word Sputnikov or satellite is translated as Kompaniano or a companion, as in a stellar companion. This is my desired output. Another example, the word Reziemie online or online is changed to Internetie or internet, as in the journal is available on the internet. We can find many such examples where the document is translated for my liking as we scroll through. Your parallel data can be as large as 5 GB. You also get 200 GB free storage for your parallel data. ACT has 4 major benefits. First, as Amazon Translate customizes during runtime, you only pay for what you translate. Second, there is no model building, maintenance, or updating cost. You don't have to bring in a specialist to build and maintain multiple custom translation models. Third, ACT is objectively better than custom translation model. Say you happen to accidentally translate the document that are outside of your domain with your parallel data, or in this case, I accidentally use the parallel data space style customization for a legal document. ACT will understand that the domains don't match and will provide the best machine translation. Fourth, you can continuously update your parallel data, you get to grow your translation IP, and you get to differentiate yourself from other machine translators. Here are some comparisons to show when you might choose between custom terminology and active custom translation. Use custom terminology when you have named entities. Custom terminology costs nothing extra. You only pay the standard translation rate. Use active custom translation when you want to customize the style, choice of words, and the tone of the translation to suit your domain, such as marketing, finance, legal, etc. To perform active custom translation, you need to bring in your data, for example, your translation memory, and get custom translated output. As active custom translation involves adapting, it is priced at active custom translation rate. Please visit our pricing page for the latest rates. Now we are ready to wrap up episode 3. We learned that you can customize your machine translation using Do Not Translate, custom terminology, and active custom translation. Use Do Not Translate for quotes, codes, and unique identifiers. Add the HTML attribute translate equal to no and tag the content to not get translated. Use custom terminology for named entities. Provide Amazon Translate with a term base or a terminology file, and Amazon Translate will handle the translation of the named entities correctly. Use parallel data for custom translation. Provide Amazon Translate with your translation examples, and it will learn from these examples to perform customized translation on your input data. For more resources, visit our documentation page, product page, and our pricing page for the latest information. Don't forget to check out our 4th video in this series. Thank you again for joining us on this wonderful video journey. We are looking forward to making you successful on your machine translation endeavor. Cheers and stay safe.